Welcome back. We're learning the Nefesh HaHaim. We are in Sha'ar Dalet, chapter 28. Kaf Ches, Koyach. We need Koyach. We've been through war and we have some things up, and so we need Koyach. We're tired. Here we go. We're talking about the Torah that we saw. I taught the word concatenation, how it's Hishtal Shalut, how the Torah comes down through all the worlds. Everything comes down through many, many worlds, from Ritzonu Yisbarach, from God's will. But the Torah is in a sense changed. And that's why the Torah has so much Kedusha. Go. V'lezois afi derech yiridasa, ishtal shalusa mi madrega lemadrega, u'mi oilam leoilam, simtzuma atzma lislabesh, we call oilam l'daber b'inyanei oiso oilam. So the relevant to each world that it exists in that world. That there to be a zushtal, a connection between the Torah and the world that it finds itself in. If the Torah had too much kedusha for a particular world, it would like short circuit it. It would explode. So there has to be some sort of maybe screen or filter of the amount of light and the spiritual level that the Torah is, I'll say, broadcasting or appearing in that world, in order that there's a fit between the two of them.
We would say dumbing down now.
I don't want to say. Until this world, we all know that there's psukim in the Torah. The example that Chazal uses, Achois Loitan Timna, that the sister of Lotan was a woman named Timna, who ended up being a Pilegesh, and is the mother of Amalek. The Torah has very sort of gritty details about this world. Even, think about the Negoyim and Tumavitara and Kashrus and Shorsh and Nagach Hesapara, one ox goring another. Like, this is what the Torah speaks about. This is what, and the answer is that in this world, yes, these are divrei Torah. So the Torah has come down into this world, nislab shagamkein lidaber be'erchei v'inyanei ze ha'olam. So yes, in this world we talk about cars and damages and yuchsi and genealogy, b'sipurim dehai alma, stories of this world, Rachel and Leah. K'dei sheyuchal ze ha'olam lisbol kedushas oira, so that this world that we live in, which is very physical and not so much kedusha here, in order for us to be able to relate to the Torah in this world, so that's what the Torah needs to speak about. Omnam, im shehi medaberet betachtonim, romezet hi behem, gufei Torah binyanim pnimim, upnimim lifnimim, gavoya me'al gavoya, ad ein tachlis. But here's the key. Even though it's speaking about what I'm going to call lowly stuff, physical, opaque things, gashmias, but still on the inside, there's inner energy, pnimim and pnimim lifnimim, that goes all the way up to the highest heavens, ad le'ein kates, the ein tachlis, higher and higher without end. So look in the Zohar, Ba'aloischa, and told us, Vadai koma de avid kuchabrichu ba'ara, kulo have beraza de chokmasa. Everything that a Kodesh Baruch Hu does in this world, all is based on the secret of the Chokmah above. And in Parshas Balak, Sipasak va'amar kama tavin inun orchin b'shvilin d'oraisa. How goodly are the paths and the roads of the Torah. And B'shalach, kama islan listakla b'pizgami oraisa. Oraisa inun kol razin iloin chasimin. V'pratus inyani kol ariboy revavoy. Sa'ilamos ha'madrego shnislab shebehem. So very important idea here, that in the Torah are sealed all the supernal secrets, they being the details of the matter of all the worlds and the levels which it clothes itself during the process of its descent. The Rabbi Frankel brought beautiful excerpts about this topic, and he makes a nice comparison, like the DNA. The DNA in our cells has the code to our body and to our being in every one of our cells. And so even though you're looking at a skin cell or a hair cell or a muscle cell or a liver cell, but the inside of them is really identical. So the Torah is speaking on different levels in this world of Asiya than it speaks in the world of Yetzira or Bria, and certainly the world of Atzilus. But the inner workings of it, the inner codes, which is again spiritual, are essentially identical, and all of it is contained within all of it. V'lechein shkura b'pi hazohar deoraisa kula ihi satim v'galia. So the Zohar often states that Torah is both hidden and revealed. Shu mevuar lechol mevin sheperushu shu haderech hanistar mi'atorah kadosha. The phrase means that the Holy Torah's hidden part is not written explicitly and well explained, but rather she'enam kosem mefurish mevuar ba, el shenistar v'nitman inyanim elu beremez bidvareah. V'derech hanigla sheba hu pshuto shel mikra shu katu mefurish mevuar ba. So the Torah says what it says. It has explicit things, the stories and the laws of the Torah, but there are hidden things within it. And it's talking about the Olam Oisel Yoinim, and those are not revealed, but they're only alluded to and hinted at in word orders and in Roshei Tevos and Geomatrios and even the Tagim of the Torah. So it's all there, but it's not all explicit.
But the reason for that is because it would be too much. Like we have to dig for it. Is it related to that
Good
reason
question.
for the tzimtzum?
He has a parenthetical paragraph which might be about why it is. V'lo kemo shera'iti b'sefer katuv me'achad shechakar al inyan mipnei ma koirim lechokmas hakabbalah b'shem nistar. So there's a phrase in Hebrew of chokma hanistar. They even call it chetnu and chen chokmat hanistar. So somebody said, why is it called nistar? Halo mishemevin behem, it's lo hem niglim. If you understand it, then it's not nister, it's revealed. V'la'anashim she'enam yodim aviniim, halo yesh shegam pshuto shel mikra, enam yodim lefaresh v'etzlo. If a person's illiterate or unintelligent, so even things which are explicit can be not understood. Gama pshuto shel. So it's not like this person got it wrong. He said what he said, but there's people that don't understand it. It's called Nister. I think Shimon, you said it's because you need to labor over it. That's part of it. That you have to like dig for it like a treasure. You have to seek it out. And also because it's so precious, and I think it's nuanced and sophisticated. The Rambam comments on the Gemara in Sukkah, which says there's davar gadol and davar katan. Davar katan is the havayos of Abai v'Rava. What we know is the pilpul of the Gemara and mashemutar, masheasur, telling us all the laws of the Torah. And the Rambam says that's a great good, knowing the laws of the Torah. Anybody can understand, like the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the laws of the Torah as they're clarified in the Gemara. Anybody can reach that. Whereas the stuff of Davar Gadol, which is about the Elokut and about the secrets of Ma'aseh Bereshis, maybe not everybody can really access it. It takes sophistication, it's very nuanced, and it's delicate, and it can be easily misunderstood. Particularly, I would say the danger is Hagshama, thinking that God is really physical, and that the words of the Torah or even of the Kabbalah about a Kadosh Baruch Hu could be understood kipshuta, which they can't. It's like kol hatzimtzam lav kipshuto. So, because of the sensitivity of the topic of learning about God and how He created the world and how He continues to be involved in this world and interact with human beings, it's a very sensitive topic, and so it was left to be chokmas hanistar. It's a hidden wisdom that you have to seek it out. It's in Aramaic. You need a rabbi to teach it to you. So I think those are the reasons that it's called Chokmas and Nistar. Good evening, Steve. Nice to have you with us. Thanks for making it. Ba'ayin Zohar Baloischa Kama Chavivin Mila Dioraisa, that we call Milo Mila Eis Razini Loyin. Every word of Torah has in it supernal secrets. We call Echad Mistakel B'Sisrei Oimik Nimius Kepiroiv Chachmaso Zach Siklo V'Kedushas Taras Levavoi V'Roiv Isko V'Egyoino Ba. And so this is a beautiful idea that it's sort of infinite how far you can go in each word of the Torah. And it's according to like your own depth and your own development of your own soul, how much wisdom and clarity you have, and how much tahara, which is something you can work on to purify your heart and mind, and you can go further and further into the depths of the Torah, into the hidden meaning of everything, of every word of Torah has infinite levels of meaning and impact. And so it's open to us to make those efforts and to ascend higher and higher. Omnam ikar tamei haTorah soy nishmasa lenishmasa dila sisreha hemadvarim shekisa atik yoimim vetiku mibriyoisa veish lo yada'am adayin rak avinu harishon hu asher heisig bechinas nishmasa lenishmasa dilei sheba hayam istakel bezihira ilah nishmasa lenishmasa shel haTorah kedosha v'chamos el yoinos hayugluyos lefanu b'shorish shorshama elyon. So the deepest soul of the soul, the most hidden of the hidden, has been concealed from everybody. And to this very day, no one has access to all that. You know who had access was only our original ancestor, Adam Arishon, before the Chet. He had the connection to the neshama of the neshama and was able to contemplate the supernal roots of everything that existed. But we lost that. We lost that at the fate of Adam and Chava. We're now on the outside looking in. And so we're not able to penetrate the ultimate depths or the ultimate heights of the neshama of it all. Umi esasher chatav istalik minei hazihira ilah v'nis balbalu v'nis arbavu hastarim el yoinim. But from the time of the Chet, so then it got dark and there was bilbul confusion and a mixture and a combobulation. Things are just not the way they used to be. Nistemu gama nesivois. The pathways got messed up and closed off. B'shvilin el yonim dechokmisa deraisa. So then the neshama and the neshama dila, everything got, like a traffic jam or like roads that were damaged. B'gam b'maimed hakodesh beis kabbalas haTorah kedosha. After his basem alma, there was at the Zman of Matan Torah, we know there was like a tikkun of the Chet of Adam and Chava. Right? That when Klal Yisrael stood on Mount Sinai, the contamination ceased. The Zuama of the Nachash desisted, was ended. But im kol zeh lo zachu lasig rak oimek pnimius hanishmasa deraisa. Avalo okay, that's really interesting. The Nefesh HaHaim says, despite what Chazal say, that Pascha Zumasam, they still were not on the highest madrega that Adam had been before the Chet. They were on the madrega, the neshama of the Torah, but not the neshama of the neshama. Okay, so fascinating. Adasher Ya'ara Ruach Mimam Yishbach Hu Yizbarach as Ruchal called Basar Az Yizgalu Mabuin the Chokmis and the Sivas Plios of Chongwell Yon Nishmas or Nishmas delay. We're still waiting for a future time that Hashem will pour out in the end of days in Yoel. Then the causeways of wisdom will be revealed, the wondrous paths of the supernal wisdom, and we'll get back to the madrega of the neshama of the neshama.
Can you just clarify again the neshama?
Yes. So we've talked on many occasions the different names for the parts of the soul of Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, right? And we know there's actually two higher elements of the soul above the Neshama called the Chaya and the Yechida. And the Chaya Yechida are like Chelik Melokami Mal, they're like part of God. And they're sometimes just called collectively the Neshama of the Neshama, the soul of the soul. Or we might call it the root soul as opposed to the soul mamish, the neshama mamish. There's the neshama of the neshama, the inner element of the neshama. And so the Nefesh HaChaim is saying that the only person who had access to the neshama of the Torah, which is really of mankind and of the universe, was Adam when he was created. He was like mina shamayim ad haaretz. He was one continuum of light from the Kisei HaKavod of God all the way down to having his feet on the earth in the Garden of Eden. But after the Chait, they messed it up, and everything got mixed up together, and the pathways were like jammed, and everything got clogged. And so even at Matan Torah, where Paska Zumasam, they only reached the level of neshama of the Torah, but not bechinas neshama of the neshama. Okay. The Torah kaviyachal has a body. The world's fools only gaze upon the body. Tipshin the alma lo mistakli elbahu lavusha. The people think the Torah is only about not eating shellfish or whatever it says in the Torah. Inun de yadin, but those who know more. Inun de yadin yater lo mistakim belavusha ela begu kegufa de iu tchus hahu lavusha. But people who are more insightful and more sophisticated, they realize that the outer laws of the Torah are only a garment to the body of the Torah, to the essence of the Torah. Chakimin avdi de malka ilah inun de kaimu betura de Sinai lo mistakli al nishmesa dehi akra de kula raisa mamish. So the wise servants of the supernal king, those who stood on Mount Sinai, they gaze upon the neshama, which is the actual core of the entire Torah. Alma the asis, meaning the stakam nishmasa, the nishmasa the raisa. And in the world to come, that's what we're going to be exposed to, as it says in Yeshaya, Kmoshekosiv hayu einecha royos es moirecha v'lo yikanif od moirecha. Your own eyes will behold your teacher, and your teacher will no longer be hidden behind his garment. Oh, v'lo yikanef od moirecha. Let's see that in the pasuk, Yeshaya Lamed Chaf. It's a famous pasuk about being able to see your teacher, but there's more to it than that. V'nasan lachem Adonai lechem tsaru mayim lachatz v'lo yikanif oid moirecha v'yu einecha royos es moirecha. My sovereign will provide for your meager bread and scant water. Then your guide will no more be ignored, but your eyes will watch your guide. Meaning of Hebrew uncertain. Yeah, this word kanaf. We see the word kanaf like corner of your garment, like betzitzis, and we know that Ruth used this word to Boaz and said, spread your kanaf over shivchasecha, which is a euphemism for marriage, like put your cloak over me, and like a blanket or whatever, and we'll be under the blanket together. It's a reference to marriage. So it's part of being hidden. That's what I think the Nefesh HaChaim is talking about. He's darshaning.
It's also wings, right? Confine.
Yeah, exactly. Nefayim, yes, chicken wings or angel's wings. So there'll come a time when Hashem will not be hiding under this cloak, but he'll be revealed to us, the neshama and the neshama. So this goes back to the Or HaGanuz. Shenignaz l'tzadikim lasid avo, like it says in Chazal, lasid lavo kadosh baruch hu moitzi chama min artika. Take the sun out of its container. Usoid ha'eden ki yadua shu habchina nishmasa the nishmasa. So Nefesh HaChaim is putting together that Hashem will take the sun out of its sheath. And this is the secret, essentially, what the Garden of Eden was, namely exposure to the neshama of the neshama. Rishon koydem cheto ayadar began Eden umitoichay mistakel be'Eden anal. No, ayadar began, and he could see Eden. Right? There's a diuk between the difference between the garden and Eden. Those are two different things. Ubecheto asher me'az nistalkem imanu zota b'china elyona lechein gurash az migan Eden. So when he lost this soul level of being on this level, it was appropriate for him to be exiled from this place. V'hu soid hatzirufi oisios dila kasher iksuva b'marom Moshe Kazos so Sharbes. This is fascinating. This is the secret of the letter combinations in the manner that's written in heaven, as was explained at the end of Sharbes. Okay, so that's really interesting that we wouldn't have necessarily connected this to the letters of the Aleph base, but that's where it is. That's where we have some sort of perception of this type of spiritual light of the Garden of Eden. It's through the letters of the Aleph base, the Tzirufi Oisios, even not the words of Hebrew, but the combinations of letters. Okay, so there's power and spiritual energy in the letters, and by putting together different letters, one can perceive some of the power and the light of Maaseh Bereshis, of the Garden of Eden. Velzeh Amru b'Midrash Tehillim Reish Mizmor Gimel Lo Yada Enosh Erka Lo Nitnu Parshoseh Shel Torah Ala Seder. Oh yeah, this is a beautiful idea. Why do we say Ein Mukdam U'Meuchar B'Torah? Why is the Torah not written in order? Because if it were, She'il Male Nitnu Ala Seder Kol Mishu Koira Behen Miyad Hayayachol Livro Oilam V'La'achoyos Meisim. Fascinating idea. If the Torah would be in the right order, it would just be like the blueprint of creation. You'd read it and you'd be creating universes and you'd have the power to resurrect the dead. So the Torah is really complicated. I don't have to tell you that. It's hard to make sense of the Torah. And why is this pasuk after this pasuk? And why is this word like that? The Torah is very complex in its messaging. And Ein Mukdam U'Meuchar B'Torah, there's parshas that are out of chronological order. So why is that? So he's quoting a Midrash Tehillim, says it sort of has to be like that, because if it were just straightforward, then the energy of the Torah would allow anyone who could read it to create worlds and to even resurrect the dead. Okay, and he's going to go back to the topic of the distinction between Torah and mitzvahs of the Torah. But this was a really beautiful chapter about the heights of Kedushas of Torah, the neshama of the Torah, and the neshama of the neshama that Adam Arishon had in the Garden of Eden, and then he lost it with the Chet. We got back to a certain level at Mount Sinai, but then the Chet Ego brought us down. The time that we're going to get back to it is La'asid Lavo. So in the future, we're going to be Zoicha to the Ora Ganuz, and we're going to get back to the capability to see the neshama of the Torah. Okay, thanks everybody for being here.
Shikach.
Have a good evening. Take care. Good night.